It can be seen at the beginning that still, the secret that Mash cannot use magic remains hidden in the magic school. Everyone except him. Instead of figuring out a way to resolve this critical issue, he spends time eating his favorite snack, cream puffs. While doing this, he remembers that they would have a broom flying class the next day, and he has no room for it. The following day, the students gather around for the broom class. They are expected to learn how to ride a broom. While the teacher addresses them, she instructs them to channel magical energy into their brooms and order it to fly. After that, they are to straddle it to regulate the magic to keep it afloat. As easy as this might sound, the students could not follow the first instruction as they found it difficult to command their brooms to fly. On the other hand, Mash continues to be determined to become the #1 student and restore a peaceful life for himself and his father. To do this, he would have to pass this class, but without magic, this would be difficult. He tries to get the broom to float, but it does not. After multiple tries, he was stopped by a deafening silence. Then, in a sly move, he utters the word, "fly." This act confuses the student, who states that Mash just cheated because he already had the broom in his hand before he said fly. Meanwhile, the other students finally have been able to float their brooms. So, the teacher states that it is time to assess how fast they can go. This would start what she calls the timed trials. Hearing this, the students feel that it would be a perfect opportunity to prove how much better he is than Mash. He challenges the latter to a race, stating that the loser must obey the winner as long as they are in the academy. Soon after, she called for them to be on their marks, set, and go. Immediately, Mash left the student behind at extraordinary speed. The student remains standing, shocked at what has just happened. He remains stunned and in doubt at what he has just witnessed. On the other hand, the teacher is surprised to see a new world record for broom racing being set. The other students claimed that they did not even see Mash when he moved. One person, however, had a good look and could see what had happened. Finn. He claims to have seen Mash throw the broom in the air immediately after the race started and use his strength to raise himself on the broom, using air resistance to reduce his speed and mounting the broom in mid-air. He wonders how this is possible. While he intends to continue ranting, he is stopped by a top student in the school named Cavil Lloyd. Cavil steps forward and apologizes on behalf of the other student, claiming that they are friends. Seeing this, the other students, who seem to know something about Cavil that Mash does not, decide to stay out of this situation. Cavil claims that Mash's actions have impressed him and asks them to be friends, and the ignorant Mash accepts. Later that day, Cavil meets with the student who had challenged Mash earlier, and we realize that Cavil had sent the student. However, he is angry that the student failed to do something so simple as messing with Mash. As punishment, he punches the student in the face continuously. Eventually, he stops when he realizes he might have found a new toy in Mash, if he only knew who he was dealing with. At that moment, Mash and Finn are walking past the hallway, and he asks Finn who Cavil is and why everyone is scared of him. In response, he said that Cavil is the son of a high-ranking member of the Bureau of Magic. Also, because of his father's influence, the school's vice principal pays special attention to Cavil's needs. Crossing Cavil may lead to expulsion from the school. After school, instead of meeting Cavil as they agreed, Mash spends time in his kitchen making cream puffs. When he tastes them, he wishes his father were here to taste them too. His thoughts are halted by Brad's words, threatening to hunt him and his father down if he fails to become the top student in the academy. Later that day, Mash brings out his textbook in class to find it has been destroyed. While he wonders how his textbooks are falling apart, just then, Cavil comes to meet him, asking why he didn't come for their meeting. In response, he said that he was making cream puffs. As much as this annoyed Cavil, he tried to maintain a straight face. For starters, Cavil orders him to do menial jobs such as carrying their books, broom, and other school stuff for them, cleaning his shoes, getting him a drink, massaging his shoulders, and doing something funny. All these Mash did without thinking about it so much, all because he thought that Cavil wanted to help him. The next day in class, Mash brings out his textbook to see if it has been destroyed again. Again, he assumes the books are falling apart. Then, he asked Finn for his. Finn, however, gets scared and refuses, but ultimately does so when Mash refers to him as a good friend. At this precise moment, Finn gets confronted by Cavil. At this point, we realize he is responsible for Mash's textbooks being destroyed. However, all this was on Cavil's orders. This time, Cavil orders him to burn Mash's uniform since destroying his books isn't enough to force him into dropping out. Finn apologizes for what he had done, stating that it was all due to the orders he got from Cavil and could not resist. He says that he decided to stop after Mash called him his friend. On the contrary, Cavil is unbothered about this, stating that Finn owes him an apology and invites Mash for a meal with the vice president. He assumes that Mash will continue to be the dumb and gullible boy they think he is. Unfortunately, the vice principal is just around the corner and witnesses everything that has happened. He threatens to hold a school conference regarding Finn and Mash's involvement in this violent incident. He says this because they have just been with someone of a very different social status from them. Because of this, Mash digs up the ground and throws him in, starting a threat of his own. He lets the vice principal know that just as he can expel any student at any time, he can be buried at any time. When the vice principal shows no remorse, Mash buries him, leaving him screaming. However, he despises a world where the caring are at a disadvantage, and this causes him to ignore the Bureau's order blatantly. He does this by burning the notice being sent to him. He reveals that his concern for the current state of the world has caused him to take this position several years ago. He was impressed by Mash's actions of sacrificing himself and acting in the face of injustice. However, the coins are different and are classified into gold, silver, and brass. As expected, those with a certain number of gold coins are considered more than others. He asks that Mash obtain as many coins as he can from his schoolwork and activities, while he, on the other hand, handles the vice principal and Bureau of Magic. Later in the day, while walking with Finn, he is confronted by a student, Tom Knowles, who asks him to represent Adler's dorm in a duel. Apparently, Tom is a great sportsman and the last year's MVP duelo. Although Mash seems to know nothing about this, he doesn't feel interested. However, Tom continues to convince him, counting his extraordinary skill in the broom race. Finally, Mash is forced to accept. However, when he remembers his father and how important it is for him to go ahead with this to get the required number of coins, he decides to figure out a way. It can be seen that since he can't fly, Mash stands still on the ground. Tom tells him that he promised to be number 1, but Mash denies it. Tom then states that he lacks bamboo and explains that bamboo is strong and can survive any climate. Tom then realizes that he forgot to tell him the duelo game rules. They are fighting over the control of the ball mid-air and passing it through a ring for points. They are prohibited from using magic, which is all about the broom technique. Before returning to his team, Tom explains that he put everything on duelo and recruited Mash. Has a broken bone and asks the player where his sportsmanship is. However, the player does not care about that, but only for the win. Lang Dorm took a good lead of 40 points over Adler Dorm. Tom tells Mash that winning isn't necessary, but that they give it all, since they are 6 players against 4. Lang continues to increase their lead to 50 points. Mash gets irritated and takes his broom. He then jumps and floats in the air, surprising everyone that he can fly. But he moves his legs quickly to stay in the air. He asks for the ball, and he gets it. People wonder what he will do with it from such a large distance. Then Mash makes a powerful throw and scores. The ball then spins and returns to Mash. He continues to throw it, again and again, scoring 999 points against Lang's 60 points and winning the game for Adler. Mash and the team get a silver coin. After the game, Tom hugs Mash, telling him that he has grown up to be a strong bamboo and is happy. The next day, Tom comes to pick Mash up for duelo practice. Lemon comes too, wanting to study with Mash. However, Mash doesn't want to do anything with him and asks Finn for help, but he is asleep. Lance Crown shows up, stating that it seems that Mash is having fun and wonders if he can join. Lemon recognizes him as the student who ranked first in the entrance examination. Mash states that he isn't having fun, and Lance then suggests that they do something that is fun. Mash found Lance in the forest. Lance guesses that Mash is after the coins and reveals that he has 2 silver coins. Tom is surprised as he thought only a select number of upperclassmen had them. Seeing that Lance has 2 lines on his face, Tom guesses that he has bad news. The majority of people in the world are single-line magic users. There are rare exceptions with more lines. The double-line magic users are 1 in 100,000 and are considered to be selected by magic itself. Lance is sure that he can't lose to someone like that. Mash agrees, and Lance uses Graviole to clear the area. Regro and Brad were nearby and heard the noise that made Lance's magic. Mash tries to stand up, but as he is still under Graviole gravity magic, Lance tells him that he won't be able to. However, Mash states that he can do enough without standing. He then punches the ground and pulls out long roots. The magic Lance stops his magic and jumps backward. Mash then tries to punch Lance again, who again uses Graviole. However, Mash manages to withstand it and proceeds with the punch. Lance dodges it, but is surprised that Mash is faster now. Mash attempts to punch him again, but as Lance dodges, he only manages to knock his pendant off. Checking it, Mash sees a picture of a girl and assumes that Lance is a lolicon. Lance asks Mash what's the most important thing in the world. After thinking for a few seconds, Mash tries to say cream puffs, but Lance interrupts him, stating that he is wrong. Mash then guesses human life, love, and freedom, but Lance keeps telling him he is wrong and gets annoyed that he cannot state the obvious answer. Lance heads to a cliff and prepares to drop the bottle, noting that his magic will accelerate its fall. Mash will try to save it, but Lance will then attack him. Lance is ready to be demonic for the sake of his sister. Lance recalls how his sister scolds him for getting into another fight, even though he denies it. She states that he is a bad liar and tells him to sit so that she can heal him with her magic. She heard that he saved a child from being bullied and guesses that's why they beat him. She loves how kind he is, even though he is clumsy. One day, Anna gets an incurable illness that will strip her of her mark and magical power, and she has no more than 5 years. Lance drops the bottle and uses graviole. He then wonders what Mash will do, but sees that he has removed some of his clothes. Mash then uses hamstring magic, a spell that Lance has never heard of before. Mash then casts Big Bang Dash, noting that the choice of losing and the choice of not rescuing does not exist for him. He runs down the hill and returns in a few seconds, holding the bottle. Lance cannot believe it and wonders if he is using physical enhancement magic. Mash then states that he thinks they should stop and not fight, as Lance does not feel like a bad guy, since the bottle is fake and empty. Mash quickly approaches Lance and searches him. Lance wonders why he wants them to stop because he can win silver coins, and Mash explains that he is too clumsy to make rational decisions about everything. Lance is reminded of his sister's words and agrees to stop. He leaves but states that he made a bet with him and gives Mash a silver coin. Mash then releases Tom, Lemon, and Finn, but since they annoy him, he regrets not doing it after he returns to the academy. Do you think he could be beaten in a real fight? Enjoy your day, and don't forget to subscribe.